Hi, welcome to the first short lecture on Chapter 6. In this chapter, we learn about figures of speech. And if you've read the chapter and possibly taken the vocabulary quiz, you know that there are many types of figures of speech that can be employed in a poem. I do think it's useful for you to know about the many types, to learn about apostrophe, metonymy, synecdoche, etc. But for our purposes, I want to hone in on three of these figures of speech. First is the simile. Second, metaphor, including implied metaphor. And third, personification. This lecture will focus solely on the simile. You may remember the simile and this kind of definition from high school English classes or possibly other college English classes. And a simile is just a comparison of two things that's indicated by some connective. It will use like, as, or than, or possibly a verb such as resembles. It usually compares two things that initially seem unlike, but are shown to have a significant resemblance. Before we look at sample poems, though, I want to look at some lines that distinguish similes from metaphor and implied metaphor. If I say, "Oh, my love is like a red, red rose," you know that's a simile because my love and a red, red rose are connected through the word like. If I say, "Oh, my love resembles a red, red rose," it's the same thing, a simile, and they're connected here by the word resembles. And then finally, "Oh, my love is redder than a rose." You know that my love and a rose are being compared, and we find out that my love is redder than a rose, and it's than that connects the two and shows us we have a simile. The metaphor, on the other hand, is going to make a direct statement, this is that. Oh, my love is a red, red rose. It's not like a red, red rose, it is a red, red rose. And then in implied metaphors, we have to do a little more work. Oh, my love has red petals and sharp thorns. What else has red petals and sharp thorns? A rose. And so now we know that my love is a rose. Again, not a simile, a metaphor, my love is a rose. And the second example, oh, I placed my love into a long stem vase and I bandaged my bleeding thumb. What do you place in long stem vases? Roses. What might cause the thumb to bleed after placing something in a long stem vase? The thorns. And so again, we come to understand that my love is a rose, but it's implied. All right, let's take a look at the first sample poem. This is an excellent poem by N. Scott Momaday. Simile. What did we say to each other? That now we are like the deer, who walk in single file, with heads high, with ears forward, with eyes watchful, with hooves always placed on firm ground, in whose limbs there is latent flight. The simile begins here in line 2. We have a couple who at some point in time has said something to each other, and the result is that they are now like the deer. And then the rest of the poem goes on to describe the ways in which they are like the deer. They are like the deer who walk in single file, like the deer who walk with heads high, with ears forward, with eyes watchful, with hooves always placed on firm ground, in whose limbs there's latent flight. Before we go any further, let's take a look at the word latent in the OED. And so here we find that it's of a quality, force, phenomenon, etc. It's hidden or concealed. It's something that's present or existing, but not manifest, exhibited, or developed. And what is existing but not manifest? The latent flight, the flight. So the potential at any moment for the deer to take flight. So this description of the deer is a description of deer on the alert for danger. And we learn then that the couple is also on this kind of alert, that somehow what they've said has caused hurt, has caused a lack of trust, and so they're always somewhat ready to take flight, to not be hurt again. And this has impacted the relationship. And that's emphasized by the fact that they're in single file, but they're a couple, and then the repeated use of the word with when they're not entirely with one another. Even though I think this poem is addressing what a couple may have said to each other, I think you could extend it to other relationships as well. Perhaps you've experienced this. Perhaps in a romantic relationship, a friendship, a relationship with a sibling, a parent-child relationship, where something has been said between two people that causes enough hurt and enough lack of trust that the two people become much more guarded and less trusting. Now let's look at the second example, The Suitor by Jane Kenyon. The Suitor. We lie back to back, curtains lift and fall like the chest of someone sleeping. Wind moves the leaves of the box elder. They show their light undersides, turning all at once like a school of fish. Suddenly I understand that I am happy. For months this feeling has been coming closer, stopping for short visits like a timid suitor. So here we have another couple in a very different situation than the couple in Momaday's simile. This couple has complete trust in each other and does have a connection. And we have three similes in the poem that help to build our understanding of this relationship. The first, we have the setting where the couple is lying back to back, and the speaker is watching the curtains lift and fall like the chest of someone sleeping, a very relaxed, comfortable, trusting image. The second, wind moves the leaves of the box elder. They show their light undersides turning all at once like a school of fish. And you've probably seen this where a tree, the leaves have basically the same shade of green, and the wind hits and all the leaves flip at once, and now you see all the light underside of the leaves. And the simile, like a school of fish, further emphasizes that everything is moving in unison. It's emphasizing connection, which tells us more about this couple. They're relaxed and comfortable with one another. They're in unison. And then the final simile comes after the aha moment. As we start to understand how connected this couple is, we also see the speaker's aha moment. Suddenly I understand that I am happy. Right? The speaker has realized this peaceful, confident feeling, the trusting feeling, the unified feeling, suddenly realizes I am happy. And then this wonderful concluding simile. For months this feeling has been coming closer. The feeling of happiness has been coming closer, stopping for short visits like a timid suitor. So this comparison of happiness and the timid suitor, which contrasts with the complete happiness of the speaker in the trusting, connected relationship.